What would happen if every Pokémon suddenly existed in real life? Not just one. Not just the cute ones. All of them. The powerful ones. The dangerous ones. The legendary ones. Because that's exactly what I did. Over the last few months, I recreated every Pokémon as if they were real biological species. And what happened next completely changed how I see our world. It didn't start with power. It started with curiosity. I kept asking myself one simple question. What if Pokémon were never fictional, but biological species we simply never discovered? So I stopped thinking like a fan. And I started thinking like a scientist. If they were real, they would need muscle structure. They would need skeletal support, respiratory systems, instincts, territorial behavior. They couldn't just look real. They had to function real. The first species I reconstructed was Pikachu. Not the cartoon version, but a small mammalian organism capable of storing bioelectric charge inside specialized cheek organs.
Now.
When it first moved, it wasn't dramatic. It was subtle. A blink. A breath. A small shift of weight. And somehow, that made it more believable. Its fur reacted to static in the air. Its body temperature adjusted to the room. Its eyes tracked motion naturally. And when it looked at me for the first time, I didn't feel like I created something. I felt like I discovered something. That's when I made the decision. If one could feel this real, what would happen if I made all of them? I moved to the original starters. Because if this experiment was going to scale, I needed to start at the beginning. Bulbasaur was the first surprise. The plant on its back wasn't decorative. It functioned as a symbiotic energy organ. During daylight, it absorbed sunlight. At night, it relied more on stored nutrients. It wasn't half plant. It was two organisms surviving as one. Charmander was more complicated. Its tail flame wasn't magic. It was a controlled combustion reaction powered by internal chemical glands. Which meant one thing. If it was stressed, that flame reacted. Squirtle adapted faster than I expected. The shell wasn't just armor. It regulated internal pressure for water propulsion. Within hours, it claimed water sources as territory. That's when I noticed a pattern. They weren't behaving like pets. They were behaving like wildlife. And wildlife follows instinct before emotion. Which meant, if I continued this experiment, control would become harder. Electric types changed everything. Pikachu was manageable. But Jolteon amplified static fields just by moving. Electabuzz generated voltage spikes strong enough to disrupt nearby systems. And then, there was Charizard. Charizard wasn't just stronger. It altered space around it. When it extended its wings, airflow shifted instantly. The temperature of the room changed within seconds. And when it exhaled flame fully for the first time, I felt something I hadn't felt before. Doubt. Because this wasn't theoretical anymore. This was a predator. Not aggressive. Not reckless. But dominant. And for the first time since this began, I asked myself something I probably should have asked earlier. If every Pokémon existed in real life, would humans still be in control? Or would we simply be sharing the planet? When I moved to water types, everything changed again. Water amplifies power. It carries force. And some of these species were built for domination. Gyarados was the most intimidating. Beneath the surface, it didn't thrash wildly. It moved slowly. Controlled. Like it understood that it didn't need to prove anything. Its size alone commanded space. Every time it shifted underwater, pressure waves hit the tank walls. Then there was Lapras. Unexpectedly gentle. It approached slowly, carefully, almost like it was studying me. Its behavior showed signs of emotional intelligence. It didn't just react. It responded. Water types adapted quickly to environment. Too quickly. And that's when I realized something else. If oceans had Pokémon like this, human ships wouldn't dominate the sea anymore. We would be guests, not rulers. Flying types were different. They didn't just occupy space. They owned the sky. When Pidgey took flight for the first time, the air pressure in the room shifted instantly. Its wings weren't just for lift. They were weapons of wind. Then came Dragonite. And Dragonite didn't intimidate through aggression. It did it through presence. It landed slowly, folded its wings calmly, and just looked at me. There was intelligence in that gaze. Not animal instinct. Not pure dominance. Something else. Measured. Aware. Watching it fly above the skyline made one thing clear. If flying types existed globally, airspace would never belong to us again. I hesitated before recreating the legendaries. Because power at that scale isn't physical. It's environmental. When Mutwo opened its eyes, the room felt smaller. Not because it moved, but because it didn't need to. There was awareness there. Deep awareness. Lucario reacted to my emotions before I spoke. Almost like it could read the atmosphere itself. And when I simulated primal forces like Groudon and Kyogre, systems began destabilizing. Heat fluctuations, moisture spikes, pressure shifts. That's when I understood something important. Legendary Pokémon don't fit into ecosystems. They create them. And if beings like that existed freely, humanity wouldn't adapt fast enough. After everything. After power. After fear. After scale. I noticed something simple. The smaller ones stayed close. Eevee adapted socially faster than any other species. Pikachu still preferred companionship over dominance. Even Charizard, once trust was established, never crossed boundaries. Maybe Pokémon were never meant to replace humanity. Maybe they were meant to balance it. So now I have one final question. If every Pokémon existed in real life, would you want to live in that world? Or would it be too dangerous? And if you could choose just one, which one would stand beside you? Fade to sunset. Silhouettes. No music for the final 2 seconds. Just wind.